Have you ever caught yourself wondering why some people seem to navigate life with calmness and clarity while others seem to be trapped in patterns of emotional chaos, materialism, or self-doubt? What makes someone truly wise? Is it just how much they know, or is it about how they live, think, and treat others? In today's video, we're diving deep into 6 key signs of a foolish mindset, as outlined by ancient Stoic philosophers. Lessons that have stood the test of time and are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. If you're serious about cultivating wisdom and living a life of virtue, understanding these signs is the first step. By the end of this video, you'll have a powerful self-reflection tool to help you identify and overcome destructive habits. Whether it's obsessing over your appearance, relying too much on others' opinions, or avoiding personal responsibility. This isn't about labeling anyone. It's about learning how to grow, shift your mindset, and become the best version of yourself. Why is this important? Because the path to true wisdom and personal growth starts with awareness. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what to look out for, so you can make the changes needed to live with more clarity, purpose, and inner peace. Stay tuned as we uncover these 6 signs and discuss how you can take action to transform your life. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Let's get started. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Sign 1. Prioritizing appearance over character. Picture this: you're meeting someone new, and at first glance, they seem to have it all together. Their makeup is flawless, their outfit is on point, and their social media feed is a showcase of a seemingly perfect life. You can't help but feel a little envious. Maybe even a little inspired. They radiate confidence, success, and an aura of perfection. But as you start to spend more time with them, something doesn't quite add up. Despite their immaculate exterior, there's a lack of depth beneath the surface, a kind of emptiness that is hard to ignore. It's as if their entire existence revolves around their appearance, and there's little energy left to focus on who they are on the inside. This obsession with looks, while alluring, is a dangerous path. According to the ancient Stoics, this preoccupation with physical beauty is a sure sign of foolishness. Why? Because they understood that true value comes from within: your character, your virtues, your soul. The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, whose words still resonate deeply today, once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What he meant was simple yet profound. Your inner world, the way you think, feel, and act, is what truly defines you, not the surface-level facade you show the world. Your character is everything. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that caring about your appearance is inherently wrong. There's something quite empowering about taking pride in how you present yourself to the world. It can signify self-respect, a sense of confidence, and a willingness to care for your well-being. But here's the catch. When you start prioritizing your looks over everything else, you begin to lose sight of what truly matters. Think about it. Beauty fades. Youth fades. The vibrant, radiant glow you carry today will one day wither, and all those material things that society tells you are important — designer clothes, perfect makeup, a polished social media persona — will lose their shine. But your character, your kindness, your integrity, these are the things that last. These are the qualities that, with time, only grow stronger. The Stoics would argue that overemphasizing appearance isn't just shallow, it's distracting. It pulls your focus away from the things that truly deserve your attention, like nurturing your mind, building deep and meaningful relationships, and living a life aligned with your values. When you allow your worth to be based solely on something as fleeting as your looks, you open the door to insecurity and self-doubt. Because what happens when the beauty you've relied on starts to fade? What happens when someone else enters the room with a sharper jawline, a more perfect smile, or a younger face? You'll be left feeling lost and vulnerable because you tied your worth to something that was never designed to define you in the first place. So, how do you break free from this cycle? The Stoics would tell you to focus on your inner beauty. They would urge you to take a hard look at yourself, not the reflection in the mirror, but the reflection in your actions and thoughts. Are you living with integrity? Are you showing kindness to the people around you, not because you have to, but because you genuinely care? Are you learning, growing, and becoming the best version of yourself day by day? These are the questions that matter, the ones that shape your character and define your true essence. Because at the end of the day, no amount of makeup, perfectly styled hair, or social media likes can make up for the absence of a strong, resilient character. No perfectly curated Instagram feed will ever replace a life well lived. Let this be a gentle reminder to us all. The next time you find yourself comparing your appearance to someone else's or obsessing over how you're being perceived by others, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what kind of person am I becoming? Focus on that, and the rest, your beauty, your self-worth, will naturally follow. Because, in the end, it's not how you look that matters. It's who you are that truly counts. Your character will always matter more than your appearance. Sign 2. Ignoring self-responsibility. This one might resonate deeply for many of us. It's one of those uncomfortable truths that we might not want to admit, but it's crucial. Taking responsibility for our actions, thoughts, and outcomes is one of the hardest yet most important things we can do in life. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's so much easier to blame the world around us than to take a long, hard look in the mirror. But here's the kicker. According to the ancient wisdom of the Stoics, accepting responsibility is the key to living a life filled with meaning and wisdom. It's the difference between living a life of fulfillment or stagnation. Have you ever come across someone who always seems to have an excuse ready for every hardship, every misstep, and every failure they face? You know the type. The ones who blame their boss for not getting a promotion, their parents for not giving them the right opportunities, their partner for not being supportive enough, or even fate for just not being on their side. It's like they have a list of reasons as to why everything's wrong, and none of them have anything to do with their own choices or actions. I'll be the first to admit it's easy to fall into this mindset when things aren't going well. But here's the cold, hard truth. The Stoics would tell us that focusing too much on the external world and our misfortunes is a sign of emotional weakness, not wisdom. Why? Because it strips you of your power. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Take, for instance, the words of Epictetus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, who said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Pause for a second and reflect on that. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes it feels like everything is stacked against us. But the one thing we always have control over is our response. Our mindset, our attitude, and our actions. And when we allow ourselves to blame others or external forces for our situation, we are surrendering that control. We're essentially saying, I have no power here. I'm a victim of my circumstances. But here's the kicker. That's not the growth path. It's the path to being stuck, stagnant, and resentful. When we refuse to take responsibility, we trap ourselves in a never-ending cycle of helplessness. Let's break this down further. Imagine you're facing a difficult situation at work. Maybe your boss is tough to work with, or the job market seems unforgiving, or you feel like the economy is weighing heavily on your career prospects. It's easy to see those as the reasons for your struggles, and while they might be contributing factors, there's still so much within your control. Are you actively working to improve your skills? Are you stepping up with a positive mindset every day, showing dedication and resilience, even when it feels hard? Or are you letting the frustration build, complaining about the situation, and hoping that someone, anyone, will fix it for you? This is where the Stoic mindset offers such a powerful lesson. Taking personal responsibility means looking at the bigger picture, your life, your future, and your progress, and realizing that no one is coming to save you. It's uncomfortable, and it can feel overwhelming, but once you take ownership of your life, yes, even the struggles and mistakes, you reclaim your power. The weight of the world might seem heavy, but your ability to choose your next step is what makes all the difference. Blaming others might feel like a temporary relief, but in the long run, it keeps you stuck in the same old patterns. You're not growing. You're not evolving. You're just staying in the same place, hoping for a change that's never going to come unless you make it. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, once wisely stated, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." It's so true. The challenges we face in life are not insurmountable. Many of us are capable of so much more than we give ourselves credit for. The reason those challenges feel difficult isn't that they are inherently hard. It's because we're not willing to leap to take responsibility for our part in overcoming them. The truth is, if you want to become the person you're truly meant to be, you must first own your life, your choices, your mistakes, your triumphs. Only then can you start to create something better. So, how do we apply this to our daily lives? It starts with asking ourselves some hard-hitting questions. Am I blaming others for the problems I'm facing? Am I looking for excuses rather than solutions? Am I willing to take full ownership of my life, even when it's uncomfortable? The Stoics believe that responsibility isn't just about fixing the bad things. It's about empowering yourself to make the future better and to create the life you truly want. It's a mindset shift, and it's one of the most powerful shifts you can make. Next time you feel the urge to point fingers or make excuses, stop, breathe, and remind yourself, this is my life. The way I respond to it is entirely up to me. Taking responsibility won't always be easy. It might feel painful at times. But let me tell you, it is the one thing that will propel you forward. It is the key to growth, to wisdom, and to living a life that is truly yours. Sign 3. Overvaluing others' opinions. Let's dive into the third sign of foolishness, one that resonates deeply with us today. Overvaluing others' opinions. Oh, how this one stings, especially in the world we live in now. Social media has made it so effortlessly easy to fall into the trap of caring far too much about what others think of us. How many likes did your post get? Who's watching your stories? What will people say about the choices you've made? These questions creep into our minds, often without us even realizing it. We become so fixated on the validation of others that we lose sight of what matters, our self-worth, our values. It's devastating, honestly. We've all been there, feeling that deep anxiety when we don't get the kind of attention we thought we deserved. It's like our lives are constantly on display, and we become obsessed with how others perceive us. The truth is, living for the approval of others is one of the quickest ways to lose sight of who you truly are. You become so caught up in someone else's view of you that you forget how to view yourself with love and respect. The Stoics, those wise thinkers who lived thousands of years ago, were incredibly clear about this. They understood something we've forgotten in today's world. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and a Stoic giant, said something that will stay with me forever. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Think about that for a moment. You spend every single second with yourself through every triumph and every failure. Yet somehow, the opinions of people who don't live your life, who don't know the full story of your struggles and joys, weigh more heavily on you than your understanding of yourself. Why? Why do we let the opinions of others shape our lives so much? It's maddening when you stop and think about it. The Stoics, in all their wisdom, warned against this dangerous mindset. Seeking validation from others is, in their eyes, a profound sign of foolishness. Why? Because it pulls you away from your authentic path. You hand over control of your happiness, your decisions, and ultimately, your self-worth to others. When you live for other people's approval, you forget to ask yourself the most important questions. What do I want? What aligns with my deepest values and desires? Instead, you start asking, what will they think? How can I impress them? And let me tell you, that kind of mindset is a vicious cycle, one that never brings true satisfaction. You can't please everyone. No matter how hard you try, there will always be someone who finds fault in what you do. It's inevitable. The Stoics taught us to focus on what we can control, and guess what? We can't control the opinions of others. All we can control is how we see ourselves and how we choose to live. Epictetus, one of the most profound Stoic philosophers, said it so simply and powerfully. If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. If you need a witness, be your own. That right there is a gut punch. If you're constantly seeking external validation, you're letting go of your truth. You're sacrificing the essence of who you are in favor of someone else's fleeting approval. But here's the thing. This doesn't mean you should shut out everyone's opinions entirely. That's not what the Stoics would advise. They would say to listen to feedback with an open heart and mind, but never, ever let it define you. There's a stark difference between constructive criticism, something that can help you grow, and toxic validation that keeps you stuck, living for the next compliment. So, here's a simple but powerful exercise. The next time you find yourself spiraling about what others think, stop. Take a deep breath and ask yourself these questions. Why do their opinions hold such weight in my life? Am I living in a way that reflects my values and principles? If no one else were watching, would I still make the same choice? By turning your attention inward, by focusing on your integrity rather than external validation, you free yourself from the soul-crushing cycle of people-pleasing. You liberate your mind, your spirit, and your peace of heart. Remember, wisdom isn't about being liked by everyone. It's about being true to yourself, even when the world wants you to be something else. The Stoics would remind you that our worth is not up for debate. It is something only you can define. Sign 4. Emotional instability and overreaction. Let's dive into the fourth and, in my opinion, one of the most significant signs of foolishness. Emotional instability and overreaction. This one hits home for a lot of us, whether we want to admit it or not. Picture this. You're chatting with someone you care about, and suddenly, a harmless disagreement turns into an all-out argument. Voices rise, tempers flare, and before you even realize what happened, the situation is completely out of control. You feel that knot in your stomach as things spiral, and the regret quickly follows. Or maybe you've witnessed someone completely lose it over a minor inconvenience, like being stuck in traffic for a few extra minutes, and it ruins their entire day. It's as though their entire world falls apart over something so small, and you can't help but feel frustrated with their reaction. Sound all too familiar? It's something we've all experienced or observed, and it's incredibly eye-opening when you start to see how often it happens. The reason this emotional instability and tendency to overreact are so concerning is that it's a clear sign of a lack of control over one's emotions. It's almost as if our emotional responses take the wheel, leaving logic and reason in the dust. According to Stoic wisdom, allowing your emotions to control your every move is, in essence, a sign of foolishness. The Stoics, who lived in times of great challenge and adversity, were deeply aware that emotions are an inherent part of being human. But they also understood that wisdom lies in how we respond to those emotions, not in letting them dictate our actions. Seneca, one of the most insightful Stoic philosophers, wrote, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." It's such a powerful quote because it underscores the fact that much of our suffering isn't necessarily because of the events themselves, but because of the stories we tell ourselves about them and how we allow our emotions to escalate them. That person who blew up over a small disagreement? Their emotional response was likely rooted in something much deeper: fear, insecurity, or past wounds. The point is that you allowed those emotions to fuel an overreaction that could have been avoided. The same applies to the people who let traffic make them miserable. The situation wasn't the issue. Their inability to control their emotional response was what caused the turmoil. And let me make this clear. Stoicism is not about repressing your feelings or pretending they don't exist. It's not about bottling up anger, sadness, or frustration until they explode. The Stoics were not emotionless beings. They knew emotions were a natural part of life, but they also believed that true wisdom lies in responding to those emotions with control, reason, and virtue. The next time you feel your emotions starting to take over, take a step back. Give yourself a moment to breathe, to gather your thoughts, to regain control. Because when you allow emotions like anger, fear, or frustration to rule your actions, you're not only putting yourself at risk for regret, but you're also sabotaging your relationships, your reputation, and your inner peace. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Think about it. How many times have you said things you didn't mean in the heat of the moment? How many times have you hurt someone you care about because you couldn't stop yourself from reacting impulsively? It's something we all have to face. It's part of being human. But the Stoics teach us that this emotional chaos can be avoided if we learn to pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom instead of knee-jerk reactions. Emotional instability clouds our judgment and prevents us from thinking clearly. It keeps us trapped in a cycle of unnecessary conflict and regret. Epictetus, another brilliant Stoic mind, beautifully captured this truth when he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So simple, yet so profound. Life throws so many unpredictable challenges our way. Disappointments, delays, hurt feelings, but our reaction to these events is what truly defines us. We can't control the traffic, the weather, or other people's actions, but we can always control how we respond. And in that response lies our power. So, how do we practice emotional stability in a world that often seems to push our buttons at every turn? Here are a few Stoic-inspired strategies that I've found to be truly transformative. Pause before reacting. When you feel that rush of anger, frustration, or fear bubbling up inside, stop. Take a deep breath. Count to 10 if you need to. Giving yourself even a moment to process can make all the difference in how you respond. Reframe the situation. Ask yourself, is this worth getting upset over? More often than not, the answer will be no. Most of the things that set us off are temporary and inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. Focus on what you can control. Sometimes, the situation is entirely out of your hands. And that's okay. Don't waste energy trying to change things you have no control over. Instead, focus on what you can control, your actions, your perspective, and how you choose to react. It's so easy to lose our cool when life throws us a curveball. Believe me, I've been there. But the key is not to be perfect in our emotional responses. No one is. It's about catching yourself in the moment, taking a breath, reflecting, and doing better next time. And over time, you'll find that calmness becomes your superpower. When you're able to stay grounded in the face of chaos, not only do you protect your peace, but you also inspire others around you to do the same. So, the next time you feel your emotions about to take over, ask yourself, am I letting my emotions control me, or am I in control of my emotions? Wisdom isn't about never feeling. It's about choosing how to act, even when emotions are running high. And let me tell you, there's nothing more empowering than mastering your emotional responses. It doesn't mean you'll never feel anger or frustration again. It means you'll no longer let those emotions rule your life. That, my friends, is the true freedom that wisdom brings. Sign 5. Materialism and greed. Let's dive into the fifth and perhaps one of the most insidious signs of foolishness. Materialism and greed. Picture this. Someone who seems perpetually driven by the pursuit of more. More money, more possessions, more power, and more recognition. They define their worth by the number of things they can accumulate, whether that's a towering bank account, a closet full of designer labels, or an ever-growing collection of shiny new gadgets. Does that image sound all too familiar? How often do we see people fixated on external success, equating it with true fulfillment? The Stoics had plenty to say about this, and let me tell you, their perspective does not flatter the modern obsession with material wealth. They viewed it as one of the clearest signs of foolishness. The reason: material possessions are fleeting, external, and quite frankly, beyond our control. Epictetus, one of the most profound Stoic philosophers, wisely said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." How powerful is that? It's as if he's warning us that the more we chase after material things, the more we enslave ourselves to the very pursuit that promises happiness but never delivers. It's an exhausting, unending cycle, always wanting more, never satisfied, constantly looking for the next shiny thing to fill a space inside us that material things were never designed to fill. Think about the countless people we know, or maybe even ourselves, who seem to have it all. The money, the cars, the house, the dream job. On the outside, they're living the perfect life. But inside, they're hollow. They're miserable. Why? Because materialism is a trap, plain and simple. It's a distraction. It takes your focus away from what truly matters in life. Things like nurturing relationships, finding a deeper sense of purpose, and seeking inner peace. The Stoics were crystal clear. True wealth is not measured by what you own, but by how content and fulfilled you are with what you already have. It's about shifting your mindset and realizing that happiness is not found in possessions, but in a life of simplicity, gratitude, and emotional resilience. But let's take this a step further, because materialism doesn't just manifest in the form of things we accumulate. It can also show up as a desperate craving for external validation. Have you ever found yourself thinking, if I just get that promotion or land that big contract or win that award, then I'll feel complete? Or maybe, if I just wear this brand or buy that car, everyone will finally see me the way I want to be seen. The Stoics would look at you and say, stop chasing that illusion. Because here's the painful truth. No amount of external validation will ever fill the void inside. True fulfillment is an internal state. It comes from within, from living a life aligned with your values, not from any recognition or trophy that others may offer. So, how do you break free from the trap of materialism and greed? The Stoics had a practice that, while tough, is truly transformative: voluntary discomfort. They intentionally went without luxuries, sometimes even food, warmth, or shelter, to remind themselves that they didn't need those things to survive, let alone thrive. It was their way of reconnecting with what truly matters and cultivating a sense of gratitude for the simple things in life. Now, I'm not suggesting you go to such extremes, but the principle still applies. You can start by asking yourself hard-hitting questions like, what am I genuinely grateful for right now? Do I read this item, or am I using it to fill some emotional void? Am I living in line with my deepest values, or am I chasing after things that will never truly make me happy? These aren't just idle questions. They're the ones that will help you gain clarity and shift your focus from the fleeting to the lasting. The Stoics believed that simplicity is freedom. And let me tell you, it's one of the most liberating realizations you can ever have. When you stop tying your sense of worth to what you own, you free yourself from that unrelenting cycle of desire. You let go of the craving, the chase, and the endless pursuit of more. And in doing so, you allow space in your life for what truly matters: your growth, your relationships, and the legacy you create. Real wealth comes from living a life rooted in peace, love, and understanding, not in the accumulation of things. Sign 6. Avoiding self-reflection and growth. Let's delve into the sixth and possibly the most critical sign of foolishness: avoiding self-reflection and growth. This one strikes deep, doesn't it? It's easy to look the other way, to ignore the uncomfortable truths about ourselves. It's one of the most difficult things we can do, to truly look at ourselves, the good and the bad, and assess where we've been and where we're going. Trust me, I get it. No one wants to face their own flaws head-on. It's far more comforting to point the finger at others, to immerse ourselves in distractions, or to put on a brave face, pretending everything is fine. It's so much easier to avoid it, to escape. But here's the hard truth. This avoidance is one of the biggest barriers to wisdom and growth, and we all know deep down that without growth, we're just treading water. Marcus Aurelius, that incredible philosopher king, had a practice that might seem uncomfortable at first but is nothing short of life-changing. Every evening, he took time to reflect on his day, his actions, his thoughts, his decisions. He didn't shy away from the tough questions. He asked himself, "What did I do well today? Where did I fail? How did I betray my values? And how can I do better tomorrow?" This wasn't about beating himself up or dwelling in guilt. No, it was about a commitment to growth, a way to consciously evolve and align more closely with the values that mattered most to him. And honestly, it takes incredible courage to look at yourself with that kind of honesty. It's raw, and it's real. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The Stoics believed that wisdom doesn't come from ignoring our flaws or putting on a facade. It comes from the relentless process of self-examination, learning from our mistakes, acknowledging where we fall short, and making a decision to improve. When we avoid self-reflection, we stagnate. We become stuck in the same loops of poor decisions, repeating patterns that only lead to frustration and regret. It's like being trapped in quicksand. You might think you're moving, but you're sinking deeper and deeper into a cycle of stagnation. You wonder why life feels like it's not going anywhere, and the truth is, it's because you're not truly growing. You're not taking the time to reflect and learn. This lack of growth doesn't just hurt you today, it builds up over time. It manifests in resentment, anger, and deep regret for the years that seem wasted. The Stoics, with their deep wisdom, would argue that without self-reflection, we cannot live a virtuous life. Self-reflection is what keeps us aligned with our highest ideals and values. It's what helps us course-correct when we veer off track. It's how we become the best version of ourselves, not for anyone else, but for ourselves. It's about honoring the person we're meant to be. Isn't that what we all want? To be our truest, most authentic selves? To live a life we can be proud of? So, how can we start practicing self-reflection, even when it feels uncomfortable? Here are a few tips inspired by the Stoics. Journaling. Set aside just a few minutes each day to write about your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Ask yourself, what went well today? What didn't? What could I improve? Be honest. Be kind to yourself, but also hold yourself accountable. This practice is about understanding, not judgment. Mindful moments. Throughout the day, take pauses. Stop, breathe, and check in with yourself. Are you acting in line with your values? Are you being true to the person you want to be? These small moments of reflection will create big shifts over time. Seek feedback. Sometimes, we can't see ourselves, we all have blind spots. Reach out to trusted friends, family, or mentors who will give you honest, constructive feedback. And when they do, listen with an open heart. Don't become defensive. Use it as an opportunity to grow. Remember, self-reflection isn't about achieving perfection. It's about progress. It's about understanding that we will always have room to grow, no matter our age or experience. The Stoics understood that growth is a lifelong journey, and the willingness to keep evolving is what makes life meaningful. It's easy to shy away from this uncomfortable task, but if we do, we're denying ourselves the chance to become the best version of ourselves. So, embrace the discomfort. Look inward, even when it feels hard. That's where transformation begins. That's where you truly start to live. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to take a moment to ask you, what have you learned so far? Reflect on the ideas we've shared about self-reflection, growth, and how these practices can truly transform your life. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know one thing you've learned from this video that you plan to bring into your own life moving forward. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content. Thanks for being a part of this community, and I can't wait to hear about the positive changes you're going to make.